Welcome to the channel. We got a 5.7 hemi here. He says it's running hot and losing coolant, and so I was going to do a pressure test, and as I was filling the radiator coolant, I could hear it just pouring out right around the water pump. So most likely what has happened is the water pump shaft is wore out and it's causing it to pour out through the weep hole. So we're going to tear this apart and go from there. This leak right here is pretty good. No wonder he's running hot and losing water. So we're on the driver's side of the truck. Now I like to use a 5-gallon bucket for trucks because, you know, your radiator's setting so dang high, it splatters much. Crap, lost my light. And right here is your drain tube. And you just want, you got this drain right here. Sometimes you need pliers. Hopefully I don't on this one. Nope, because I didn't bring you with me down here. You just want to unscrew that. Just let that right there drain till it all drains out. Next, we're going to remove our upper radiator hose. Push that there out the way. We're going to move our coolant and washer fluid reservoir. These are 10 millimeters. Now, I'm going to try to get the best camera angle here, but if you look down there, you'll see the line for your washer fluid. Take that there off. There's no washer fluid in this one, so you ain't got to worry about putting a drain bucket there. You might have to. All right, you see this plug in right here. This is for your that's for your washer control. Pull this red tab right here up. You'll see it right here. It just pulls up this way. Press the lever down. Pull straight up. There's supposed to be a red tab on this sensor right here, but I don't see one. So press that there in. Pull up just like so. Unhook the upper radiator hose. And it should come out. All right, next we're going to take our fan off. Now take the fan off. It's a good idea to have a tool clutch fan service kit. So I own one just because I work on all my own stuff. If you can rent these, I don't know if you can rent a kit this big or not, but it's got different size fan nut wrenches. It's got the holding tool and all that. Now if you don't want to go this route, you can go this route, pipe wrench, and I'll explain to you how to do that. All right, if you want to use a pipe wrench, take a 3/8 drive, put it over here in your tensioner. Take your pipe wrench, you place it on just like this, and you put as much tension on the belt as you can with your 3/8 drive, and you take a hammer and just pop it right here. Most time it'll break it loose. Want to use a fan clutch tool, just adjust your fan clutch tool. These pins are interchangeable to fit, you know, whatever water pump pulley you're working with, but you just slide this right here in the holes like so. And this one right here is the 36 millimeter. Try to stay where you guys can see. Just put your wrench on there, break it loose. Give it a few spins. That should be enough. You can take it off by hand. We'll see. There you go. Should be around the last few threads. Just be careful you don't drop your fan. Put a hole in your radiator. There it is. I'll just bring it out, just like so. We're gonna remove our fan shroud. These are 10 millimeters. Now, some trucks I think are 13 millimeters. Depends on which truck you got. Lost that one. Found it. There it is. Got another 10 over here on this side. Now the bottom of the shroud is just in this clip right here. You'll see this tab right here. And it's sitting in this clip on each side at the bottom. So all we got to do is just pull straight up on each side. Find a place to grab it, just like that. Pull it out. We're gonna take our belt off, take you a 3/8 drive. Just pull up on it. Take the belt off the alternator. Now, if you are worried about how this goes back on, take your smartphone out, whatever you got, your camera, take pictures of this, the way it's routed. All right, on the passenger side of the vehicle, we're going to remove our belt tensioner. That's a 15 millimeter. And go ahead and remove your lower idle pulley. Not sure if I mentioned, but your lower idler pulley is a 13 millimeter. We're going to remove the upper radiator hose from the thermostat housing. All right, if you can't get these hoses to break loose, just take you a big pair of pliers. Just turn it. Just like that. We're going to remove this bracket right here. Connects your alternator and AC compressor. That's going to be a 13 millimeter. Three nuts, one bolt. We're going to remove our lower radiator hose from the pump, water pump. All right, we're going to remove both of our heater core lines. Just pull the clamp back. All right, it's time to unbolt the water pump. So you're going to have a 15 millimeter bolt here, and then the rest will be 10 millimeter. I think there's 9 or 10 of them, and you want to make sure you keep these bolts in order. You want to put them back exact same place you got them from, so just pay attention to that. keep track of where your bolts go back in your water pump, just take your new water pump, draw you a diagram, poke some holes in it, throw your bolts in there, and that way you ain't got to worry about them getting knocked out of place. Just find 2 points to grab your water pump and just start pulling. We're going to remove our thermostat housing. These 2 bolts right here are a 13 millimeter. Use a plastic razor blade if you got them. That's what I like using. And just clean off all the stuff off your thermostat housing, all the crap and gunk, so we make sure we got a really good mating surface. Take some brake cleaner, spray it down. Wipe it clean. Alright, take your new thermostat, place it in there, just like that. Put your housing on. We're going to torque our thermostat down to 112 inch-pounds. Get about 80 right there. Get this in about 80. We should be at 112 on both sides. We are there. Get a better grip on this thing. Yeah. So we're at 112 inch-pounds on these 2. Next, we're going to put our gasket in and just place it in the grooves and keep it lined up perfectly. Push it all the way down. Push it all the way down these grooves right here. Want to make sure we have a good seal when we put this water pump back on. Go back, check it, make sure you got it all the way down in the grooves. Make sure, just take a plastic razor blade, or you can use an actual razor blade, but you need to be real careful if you use a real razor blade, and clean the mating surface, and take some brake cleaner or carb cleaner and clean all that right there up. We're gonna put our water pump on now. Now I stuck a bolt here and one down here. I don't know if you can see it or not. Right here. This will help us line it up. Make sure we get everything centered. Get that past that. ahead and start this bolt down here. And then get this bolt here started. Take your 13 millimeter, run them in. Just enough to hold the water pump up there. Don't go getting all tight with it. All right, now we got 2 bolts holding the water pump on there. We're going to just go through and start reinserting all your bolts. After you get your bolts ran up all good and snug, make sure your water pump still spins. Of course it does. And you're going to want to torque all these bolts to 18 foot-pounds. And they're all 13 millimeters. And remember, this one right here is the 15 millimeter. And you want to torque them in a crisscross pattern. Now, I always like to start down here where your bottom radiator hose goes, then work my way up to the bolt right underneath your AC compressor. I'll go here, 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 here. And that's the pattern I like doing it, because it evens out better, I've noticed. So go to 18 foot-pounds. There's 18. And we're done with torquing them down. Slide your lower radiator hose back on. Put your clamp back in place. Reconnect your heater core hoses. Put your lower idler pulley back on. It's 13 millimeter. Just give it, tighten it down. All right, next, put your belt tensioner on. Hold your belt tensioner up whenever you're tightening this down. Just hold it up like that right there. Tighten it down. I'm going to take our 3/8 drive, 15 millimeter, tighten it by hand. Don't go too tight, but go tight enough. All right, we're gonna put our bracket back on. Tighten it down for a 13 millimeter. All right, we're gonna put our belt back on. Always when you're putting the belt on, groove to groove, smooth to smooth. Go around the crank. Lower idler pulley. Around the water pump. Go around your power steering pump. By your AC compressor. upper idler pulley. Make sure you run your belt tensioner. Check everything. Make sure you're squared up, so I'm not squared up over here. Maybe 3/8 drive. Last but not least, slide it over on the alternator. Alright, go back and check and make sure the belt's seated in all the pulleys. Yep, everything looks good. Alright, next we're going to put our fan shroud in. And make sure you get it in these clips right here. It slides down in there. And it slides down on these tabs, right? These tabs slide down them clips. Being careful not to damage your radiator. Just push it down in there like that. Put in your 10mm bolts. Gonna get our reservoir in. Snake it down in there. Make sure slide your tabs back in where they go. Just like that. Take your 10mm bolts, put them in, and tighten them down. Slide your hose back on. Plug your washer level plug back in. Plug this in here back up. It's your washer motor. Well, there we are. Push that red tab back down. Get your washer line. Hook it back up. Gonna put our fan back in. Remove this protected sleeve. That's all that right there is. It's just a sleeve that protects the threads on your water pump shaft. Slide your fan back down in there. Once you get the threads started, you should be able to spin your fan. 36mm. Give it a good tighten. I'm going to put our upper radiator hose back on. Clamp it down. Do our upper radiator hose to the radiator. Just like so. Next, add coolant to the system. Fill up your reservoir tank or your expansion tank, whatever you want to call it. All right, been letting this set for about 10 minutes. Make sure as much antifreeze got in the system as possible. So we, as of right now, we're full until the thermostat opens up. And you see right here, I got extra couple jugs of antifreeze ready to go. So next thing you do, start the truck and let the air bleed out of the system. All right, so we got the truck idling and we're letting air escape out of the system. That's the bubbles you see coming up. Keep an eye on your temp and make sure your heater is on wide open. I'm keeping an eye on my temp with my phone, and that way I ain't got to run back and forth looking at the instrument cluster. And keep that extra jug of antifreeze on hand until you see all the air bleed out of the system. And most of it's not going to bleed out until after the thermostat opens up. So you're going to have to wait till it gets up to whatever thermostat you got, 195 degree, 200 degree thermostat. You'll have to wait till then before the rest of the air will start bleeding out. So you just got to be patient and just let it run. All right, so been sitting here with the truck idling. I'm at 185. That's what we're back down to. I was going to turn the camera on around 190 so you could see when the thermostat opened up and the fluid dropped down. But before I even made it back over to the workbench to get the camera, I just happened to look down at my phone and the temperature just rose fast. It made it all the way to 112. No, I'm sorry, not 112, 212. And I looked back and the antifreeze was just dropping quickly. So I had to hurry up and grab that jug of antifreeze and just lay it to it. Temps dropped back down to 190. I'm gonna let it sit here and watch it. When the last air bubble I see comes out of here, I'm gonna let it run for another 10 minutes. I'll put the radiator cap on, we'll go for a test drive and see how we did. Don't forget to look for leaks around the engine, under the truck, fill your washer fluid up, and that's it. Well guys, appreciate you watching. I'll see you on the next one. I do know for a fact this truck will be back in here because the AC, something's wrong with the air conditioner, and we're probably going to just replace AC, condenser. I mean, we're going to replace everything. So this truck will definitely be back in here for that.